Amen.
You have any plans for Monday on a short break?
No, I don't get Monday off,
Oh,
unfortunately.
really?
Yeah.
That sounds rough. Hey, Maria. Hey, V.
Hey, Leon. Hi, everyone.
Hey. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. I think we have a good number of people rolled in already. We can just get started. I don't know if you're already recording or if you want to spend a second to set it up. All right, man, I sent a message. Let me know when you are ready. When you start. Okay. We'll go ahead and get started then. So a couple announcements first. We originally scheduled for this time to do our final share out, but I talked with a few of you throughout the week, either one-on-ones or in our Slack. And the shift and announcement we want to make is in 2 weeks, we're going to do an on-site and retreat. I think we already had 10, 15-ish responses, so it's good to see all the people who are attending. And we think it'll just be a better rhythm for everyone, especially since you all are like one of the only cohorts who had class during holidays. We want to make sure like we're giving all of you like the like extra workshop content, and we're spending new time to create new materials. All of you really feel super ready to succeed. So I think it'll just be a better rhythm than next week. Hopefully all of you are also kind of done with the presentation work. So that's why we announced the shift a little bit later, because we wanted everyone to still have that milestone. So what you learn in today's session, and a little bit what you were learning yesterday about the storytelling, what we really want to see all of you complete individually is personal work updates, right? Like, have the team's documentation now complete. All of you should be applying it into your own individual files, right? Maybe if you're having an interview, that's like your deck. If you are still building your presence, trying to get network, trying to get outreach, then what we'll share today will be extra useful. So we also have a guest today who is Bill. Bill is one of my mentees at CMU, and he's worked with us a lot over the holiday on a small sort of design exercise that he's also going to share. So both of us will be just sharing hopefully 2 very strong examples on how you could actually build something extremely polished and something ready to be shown in ideally 1 week, a short amount of time. So by next week, when we do the share outs, we want to see the team share outs. And then when we have retreat, everyone should be also sharing like your personal like portfolio, work samples, so on and so forth. Any questions before we get started on the timeline? Okay, so I put mine in a small link. I know V or some of the other folks who've been talking to me about like building these projects right on the side throughout the cohort. Hopefully you've gotten the mentorship or the help you needed. If you're still curious to, getting your hands a bit more dirty, definitely reach out to me before retreat. Again, the milestone you should set for yourself is like within this last week of the cohort, you should not just be making your cohort project perfect, but also doing something really cool. It could just be the landing page of your website, honestly. Like, it doesn't even have to be a full case study, but I want to see something really concrete where you can send me. It could be a short video, it could be a link where you're like, hey, I built this thing that's really awesome, right? Like, there needs to just be this moment that's like a wow factor. So before Bill shares his examples, I'll talk a little bit about how I want this workshop to be set up. So usually we do a full hour of just us lecturing, showing examples similar to last week. This week, I want to keep my part intentionally very short and high level because you'll have all the details to read through in the link. So I just sent that out to all of you. The second piece is after Bill shares, we could do a little bit of a Q&A, but I also highly encourage everyone to just really open whatever tool they plan to use, like put this into practice. One of the hardest things is actually setting the time and just trying something new. So I really, really recommend everyone just like follow through today in this workshop. Like, we'll make it almost like this library session or office hours. I will probably be online for 1 or 2 hours even. So I just want all of you to actually try and do something. And then you're like, hey, I kind of did what you said and it didn't actually work, or this seems much more challenging than the way you explained. We could just have this open session where we're building something together. By the end of the 2 hours, I'm going to show my progress too, right? And then if anyone stayed for the whole time, they can show their progress. Okay, makes sense? All right, so we'll get into the meat of it. So the example I wanted to share here is something I showed V earlier this week, which is how we can really build very polished animation, and essentially for you that is probably used in a landing page, right? Like in your detailed case studies, you're probably not using like really fancy over the top scroll animation. But if you look at, any sort of site nowadays in this AI driven design era, there's a lot more emphasis in personality, right? Because even if you're using vibe coded tools, that's a way to stand out and show your curiosity and show your craft, right? But actually, that's not too hard to do. So this quick share out today is to show you that you could get to a really polished state, maybe even with one prompt or very, very simple workflow. So I will show the experience really quickly. So I haven't had the time to swap out all the assets, but you can see this is the core experience I've crafted. We have a video, we have like these sections. These sections have different cards. Cards are able to be expanded. Sections are navigatable. There is a action button that triggers something, right? This we already had. So how do we build this, right? The first step, if you look at the workflow, right, like this is the overall challenge when I was working with actually another cohort student on this project we had. So the cohort alumni who's helping me support this, right, they're like, well, if we're remaking our site, like I'm pretty good with vibe coding tools, but like all our old stuff is on Webflow, and Webflow for some reason doesn't actually have a very solid essentially vibe coding or prompt driven design input. So they're like, should we just restart our entire website? Should we use Webflow? So that was sort of the question we fell into. This is relevant to probably all of you because you will be in either two boxes when you think of your personal site. A, I've already did my personal site, like I have all my case studies, but the landing page I'm not happy with, right? Or B, I actually haven't started at all, and like I could just build something from scratch, right? Regardless of which bucket you are in, the lesson for today is like you could easily use the workflow I'm sharing you to update regardless. So this is why, as you'll see in some of the prompts, the idea is we're going to create something that could be just embedded as a one-pager, either in Webflow, where the one-pager links to your past case studies, right? So you're building this in whatever vibe coding tool you use, right? Could be web-based like Claude, could be Gemini 3, which we looked at a lot together in this cohort already. or if you're using like a coding editor like Bill, he'll share a little bit more about that too. So these are the sub questions we talked about, right? Like how do I actually make it look good? How do I get started? And how do I turn the inspiration into something that's shippable? So these are the basic steps I've broken down. As I work with Bill, right, like one of the things I really learned through this time is like how meaningful it is to just really curate the right inspiration. I think this is now more important than ever when you are thinking of working with AI tools as a designer, because a lot of times in the past, right, this comes last because it's oftentimes the most time-consuming or most detail-driven thing is like trying to build out, right? Like if you think about the design process, trying to build out like the layout, the wireframe, the site architecture, and then thinking about the stuff last. I think now with AI, the workflow is completely flipped. And at least on the way I've worked on these projects recently, I think this is the most actionable advice I could give you is just try to take the curation step as your first step, right? Get this main image inspo, like think of it as a branding exercise, like this is the mood and feel I want to get. Okay, break it down further. Like if you're not a very strong visual or branding designer, you could use AI to assist you, right? Like you can dump this in and like describe, ask it to teach you, like, why do I like this, right? Is it because of the font? Like, what are the inspirations it gives me? Like, you could literally just dump very visual driven inspo and then have it break down for you why you like it. Or if you don't really care why you like it, you're just ready to go, just create this overall editorial piece, save all your inspiration, and you're ready to go. The second piece is one part we dived a little bit more deep into. And I had a few examples here. These are like copy pastable prompts, but the prompts are very simple, right? That's my point. So this is one of the main inspirations I've worked on with other alumni. We both really like this. So when you see a visual animation inspiration, the most important thing is you need to understand like this is not about copying their site structure. This is not about copying or like using their site as a template. It's about finding a way to extract or extrapolate that piece of animation. Because like if I ask you how you would describe this animation, it's hard. Like I personally don't really even know how I would actually describe this animation. So your rationale of using some sort of snippet to record this, again, keeping it very short, here are the steps, is you could essentially get this micro interaction or animation as a asset of yours in whatever vibe coding tool you're using. So what does this mean, right? So this means as you start building out and experimenting with your core layout, again, this is referring to that make site design, use placeholder assets, of course, right? Like at this step, we're not worrying about what you actually put in there, but you should already have at this point, like a very clear vision of what your thing should look like and feel like, right? Like you should know, this is generally what I want. Okay, these are the details and animations how I get there. Okay, this is the overall design and layout I'm gonna have. So now you could literally use and upload this short video you recorded, right? You could upload the video directly and just write the prompt where it's something like this, right? Like break down the scroll animation and duplicate. I need to do blah, 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 help me do it. So the tools you're probably using here is just, the ones I use at least was just Claude and Figma. So there's nothing fancy here at all. And then the last step actually takes the most amount of time, surprisingly, right? Especially if you're building something that's super asset heavy. So Min and I have been organizing this for probably like a month now, because like, you know, like if you think about the cohort landing page, like throughout 20 cohorts, there's like probably like 1,000 videos, 100 projects, like 200 alumni names you have to go through, right? And it's like you have to obviously like filter things to like look consistent. So this asset management part is probably 80% of the battle, right? But for all of you, that is going to be super light, right? Building this example, like if you didn't have to do all the complex asset management, I think all of you can even get to something I would be excited to see by the end of this office hours / library session. And then finally, we have to talk a little bit about deployment. So if you have like a domain name linked with Webflow framework, it literally doesn't matter what you have. You could actually probably just deploy on that, right? All you need to do is a code embed You just embed whatever you made, like let's say in this case, a HTML page, into that code embed, deploy it, just test it. Right? If you're building from scratch, I would recommend something like Vercel. You can check out all the other tool examples here as well, like how we use Mobbin. You can, of course, hear some just general shout outs, right? Like if you look at, I'm not personally done with the whole site yet, but like as I sort of work on this, right, you can see how some of the other tools like Bill actually helped with the video editing on this. So the asset part, again, like does take time to be curated. But for all of you today, I think the focus I want all of you to be able to get is just, okay, I will actually be able to make something that should be like, if I look online anywhere, like this should be something that is actually one of the best design landing pages or sites, right? And I think that is the goal all of you should have. So the challenge will just become curating your taste, right? The engineering part and the technical difficulty hopefully should be fully lifted. If you have no idea where to start, you should be able to use this guide to get started. So today and then next week, this is what I want to see from all of you. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Bill, but before I do that, I just want to see if there are any quick questions on anything I just shared. Okay, Bill, I'll pass it to you. And then again, if anyone has any questions, you will be able to just read the guide that I sent in the chat. All right.
Hello, guys. So wait, so should I share them the website that I built?
Yeah, you can share in
Okay.
whatever way you want. Just do like a 5 to 10 minute share, and then we'll see if anyone has questions.
Okay, so I'll just share the window I have. So this is the website that I worked on over the winter. It's basically like the waitlist page for one of the current like projects that we're working on. It's called New Craft Society. So I think the idea for this is that you have like a very clean and minimalistic like website, but then that kind of steers them into like the actual invitation, which is through here, which you can connect through LinkedIn. So I can show you some of the process that I went through and then how I built this. So this is cursor, and then I use cursor mainly just for like the browser, but I actually just run like Claude Code in there. So then if you're not familiar with Claude Code, there's a course from Claude that I can share with you guys. And then you can just go through it, and then it's free, so it won't be like that long. It probably takes like 3 days to do. And then you can just kind of get like a basic understanding of it. Let's see. So whenever the first thing that you want to do when you have like you open up like an IDE is that you want to open up like a terminal. So here it's your terminal, and then if I just let's see, let me open up a terminal. After you've gone through the installation process, you can just type in Claude, and then it will take a second to load, and it'll give you this idea. And then since it's already inside the folder, like the repo that we're currently working on, then you can tell it to like git pull from the main repo, which is like basically you get like the file that you're currently getting it, and then you'll type in this command called npm run dev. So this tells the browser to run like a local version of whatever code that you're currently working on. But then one thing good about Claude is that if you're like doing these things by yourself, you have to have like a lot of like technical knowledge about what exactly is the command, because the terminal doesn't understand anything that you're not like basically word by word perfectly written. But Claude, you can just tell it to do something and it will just directly show. So it'll give you this kind of like localhost 3000. That's your URL. And this is like the loading animation that I had. So the way that you build this is that everything is broken down into specific chunks. And that's the first one starts with there's 3 different modes within Claude. So you always have the option to click Shift and Tab when you're in Claude to kind of cycle through these modes. One is called Plan mode, one is called the normal mode, and one is called Accept Edits on mode. So whenever you start an action, you always want to start in Plan mode. This way, you tell Claude that you don't want it to write any code yet, you want it to plan whatever is going on. So let's say I wanted to, let's say I wanted to do, let's see, what's the thing I can work on? Is that like, let's say if I want to make this animation faster, the morphing animation, a tiny bit faster. So I'm going to tell it that in the desk, like in the home page, and then the waitlist, like pop-up form overlay, I want to make the animation 15% faster when it morphs from the rectangular grid to the waitlist overlay. So notice the way that I prompt is very, very, very specific. You don't want to give AI any assumptions about what you're trying to do. You're treating AI as a tool. Like, it's not like the ideal way for AI to work for me is that it's not your partner, it's not your assistant, it's a tool. It's like Figma basically, but you skip all of the steps of learning what is actually going on. But you want to make the decisions, and you never want to let AI work in the decisions for you. You never want AI to make any design decisions for you, because if you do that, then AI is gonna mess up. And then because it does something, then it messes up, and then you don't know what's going on. And then it's a lot harder to refer to something that AI has done itself rather than you just do yourself. So I'll do this, and then it's gonna load, and then it's gonna think. So then it's going to find the waitlist overlay, which is like the thing I'm referring to, because it's been very specific. It takes a really easy way to find. And then ideally, what's going on is that it's going to write me a plan. So this plan is basically its verification of its it's step by step of saying what I'm going to do first, what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do next. Now it's in here. It's okay if you don't understand like what it does, because it's going to tell you like what exactly the code is going to write. But one thing is really important is that you need to understand what the result is. So then it's going to list off a checklist of what its improvement is going to write, and then what the result is going to do. So in this case, you need to ask it for trade-offs, and then you need to ask it to not change anything else, because it sometimes changes everything else, and then it messes up. So then right now it's still working and it's still writing. So you see, it says that what controls the animation speed is this file, this React file. You don't need to understand anything of this. So then it says that the current one is 800 milliseconds. and then the new one is going the current stiffness is 800, and then you want to increase it, and then dampen is basically the easing. You will also want to increase that. So then I'll give you the summary of, okay, I want to increase this by 15%, and then you just read. It's very important that you read. If you don't read and then you mess up because of something that I did, like what was the first prompt for this design project? It was basically just import this frame from Figma. Like you always want to start out with Figma and then build out like a pixel perfect mock, because I don't know like if I'm just old school, but I'm the type that doesn't trust AI to do any like design work. So then I want to be very intentional with how I like design it basically, and I only use AI for the implementation part. So after you read the entire like plan, and then you want to see, okay, it looks pretty good. If it doesn't look good, you want to explain. You want it to explain. So then, like, it says that, okay, if you press 1, then it's gonna do the plan. If you press 2, it's gonna do the plan, but you have to manually approve each step. And then number 3 and number 4 is basically the same. So let's say I don't really understand what's going on. So I'm going to explain to me in a designer language. And then it's going to rewrite that entire plan in a designer language, basically. So that's how you usually want to work to avoid wasting tokens. If you're on the pro plan, which majority of people will be on, or if you're using any other thing like this, it runs out tokens in like 30 minutes. So you definitely don't want to waste any tokens. So it tells me, okay, this is how strong the rubber band is. This is how heavy it is. This is how quickly it settles, like the easing. And then it will feel 15% snappier. And then now I ask you, okay, does it make sense? Okay, now it says, continue with the plan. And then I said auto accept edits. And now it's going to bring up the plan again and then exit plan mode. So then I'm just gonna press OK. Yeah, Ois, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had a hand
Mhm.
raised.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think we can do a pause here.
Mhm.
I think Bill gave a really good sort of more deep dive into the more I don't say advanced, but like technical details. So Bill,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing. And this is a really awesome
Mhm.
project. Like I think some of you saw snippets of this. We'll be sharing this a lot more in retreat. In an ideal world, I think all of you will move towards the comfort level that Bill has. Again, we wanted to share 2 different examples today, right? One is like completely starting off like having zero understanding of any code or hosting or anything, which is the link I sent, versus some of you, right, who throughout the cohort have been using Gemini, like playing around with different things, and you really want that granular control. So before we do like just an open library session where I want everyone to actually build something by the end of it, does anyone have any questions about what Bill shared or I shared before we get started? Does everyone feel like they have what they need to get started on updating some piece of their personal site? Right. Min, is your question for me or for Bill?
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
I can answer that first. So for this library session, again, I would even recommend, like, I think for Bill's point, this is where you want to have something where you can have like the full control, where it's like one-to-one, like Bill used the word like old school, right? So this is one example where if you really want something to be implemented, this is essentially where you build everything out on Figma. The example I shared is like you could have something where maybe you don't have the design abilities, or you don't have something as specific as what Bill has in mind right now. But you know you want to build a specific thing, right? You're not like vibe coding random things. So the part we want to avoid is you don't want to start your this library session with just a prompt like, oh, build me a landing page or whatever, because you will get absolute garbage, right? So the in-between step, if you want to do what I mentioned is, I think V, if you're actually open to it, like you could even share like kind of like a Fig Jam example you put when we did our one-on-one. Like the first step is curating a mood board, like curating your inspiration. So I would ask everyone to spend 10 minutes, like find the landing page. It could be because you want the animation. It could be because you like the visual style. Like find the thing you want to actually end up looking like, right? If you are like Bill, like you want it to be your original thing, right? Then you need to design it on Figma first, right? I mean, so that's kind of like your answer, right? Like Bill would build this like completely perfect mock on Figma first because this is the end product he wants it to look like, right? If you're just building a landing page, like you don't have that strong of opinion of what it looks like, but you're like, I know for sure I want this really cool scroll animation, right? Then just screen record that scroll animation first, like make that the starting point, right? This is another example from another person I was just helping. Like, I want to share this really quickly. Bill, if you want to stop your share screen. So. So this is another example, right? So in this one, you can see like you could literally start with like if you're not even doing a video, like you're just like, oh, this is like one of the posters Shawnery made. So Shawnery is actually in the process of like uploading his portfolio himself, and he's like, oh, I like this is kind of like the aesthetic I want. Like it's not even a website, like it's literally just mood board level contact. And I was showing him, it's like, oh, well, you could actually just start with this and you could have something that is actually ambiguous, right? Like if you don't have an idea that you want to strictly execute, like you could start with something like this, right? So this is the power of starting with the vision and executing on that, right? Now, the opposite is like if you already have the exact details and you want to do something more technical, like you only want to do that last 1% of fine tuning, right? You have what Bill shared today, right? Like you need to be very explicit. You need to be, so these are like two separate approaches, right? So for today, I will say the main focus is like, I want everyone to get started, like build something very specific. It is either just the landing page, right? Like maybe you're just building something like this. This is built by one of my colleagues at Microsoft AI. Like his site actually just won Site of the Year. So you could basically be saying like, hey, for my next 90 minutes, I just want to vibe code this thing, right? Now, again, like I am super open to everyone. Like you don't need to be the most creative or even original person. Like if you want to just screen record this thing and use that as a starting plate, that's fine. Like go practice like that, right? Now, obviously, as you move towards like you move towards making it your own, like you obviously can't just clone someone's site, right? Like you are only taking specific parts of their animation, such as you can now more easily than ever, if you just want a card to move from the center to the side, like you have that animation pattern here, right? This is why in my documentation, you'll see I reference Mobbin so many times, because if you use Mobbin, and again, if you don't have Mobbin, we also have that code, like they have this site option now, right? Like you can literally scroll through this and just almost find something where you're like, oh, this specific piece of the interaction is what I want, right? So you're operating in this mindset where you're not like, I need to clone this entire page or like I need to use a template. Like you now have this tool and access by just screen recording and taking screenshots where you can quickly duplicate and build like any sort of interaction in like 10 seconds, right? Like if you really understand how powerful that is, like this is something that like most designers like have never ever been able to do, right? Because in the past, it's like the fine-tuned animation is always the last step, right? But now you can do that as your first step. So what I really recommend everyone do in the next 30 to 90 minutes, however time you're staying on, is just finding one piece, making that piece really dope, ideally, that is something you're reusable, so you're not just kind of wasting your time right now. I will also be working, right? So by the end of 90 minutes, I'm going to show you guys like how much I can. So like this is the template I made before this, right? But by the end of 90 minutes, like hopefully I can swap out of the contents. Like we'll do a sharing session with each other just to see how much we can get done. Like Bill, if there's something you want to work on, whether it's like New Craft Society or your own personal projects, you're welcome to work or stay on or drop. But for everyone else in the cohort, like I really want all of you to try to build something. So my ask will be either it's related to your personal portfolio or it's related to the case study that you're building right now for your client, right? So it's either personal or it's related to the team. Any questions? And it should be showcase focused. And V, thanks for dropping the portfolio inspo. That's also a great example. Okay, if there are no questions, we can do cameras off, and then I will see in like, let's just say we'll regroup in like 60 minutes if anyone is still here. And then throughout this time, if anyone has a quick question they ran into, you could just shout out or write a question. But yeah, hopefully the example makes sense. I just want to show this one more time for everyone to show like how easy it is to get started, right? Like you can literally just plug in a simple thing and just generate something based off of that if you have no idea where to start. But the majority of time today, I do want all of you to really just try to understand like how to fine tune something, right? This is an example where I'm like fine tuning something, right? Like I uploaded an inspo and then I'm fine tuning just that one piece. And then the piece that I created, right? Like this is the piece where I could just copy and then I could put it into Webflow, right? To share with you guys. So that's that workflow I just shared, which is what I sent over in the chat as well. Okay, let's just start the session and then in 60 minutes, let's regroup. Talk to you all soon. And am I sharing audio from the YouTube directly, or is it very different audio? What is being shared? Is it like audio from the video, or?
Bye.